Hi, I'm Jode Sarami, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the 8 best and 5 worst knee exercises for people who have quote-unquote bad knees, which means people who have pain in their knees with activity. If you've already had surgery, using the Total Gym will be a great way to rehabilitate your knees. And if you've already been cleared by a doctor to go back to regular activities, these exercises can be modified as you gain strength to go from most easy to much more difficult using dumbbells, barbells, any kind of cables, or body weight resistance. For bad knees, you really should avoid exercises that cause you knee pain, such as jogging or running long distances, jumping rope because it's high impact and often people land with a very straight leg which transmits ground forces all the way up through all the big joints. Deep lunges. So walking lunges are deep lunges where the knee comes really far down to the floor and the front knee is very flexed. You have the option of doing much higher lunges like so, but don't do deep lunges. The other exercise to avoid would be a full arc knee extension. So the machines at the gym where your leg is on the machine and you squeeze and release like so. Real hard on the knee joint at first. If you're fresh out of an injury, avoid those. And also deep squats, like you see the Olympic weightlifters doing, really hard on the knees, where they drop the buttocks below the level of the hips and then come up from the squat here. Don't go below the level of the hips. The most you should probably go is to parallel to the floor with the femur. So from here and up, or half squats here. Still working the glutes, still working the quads, but you're not going as deep to hurt the knees. The equipment you're going to use in the exercises today is going to include a squat stand, the wing attachment, and also a chair. For cardiovascular exercises, if you happen to have a cyclotrainer too, or a cyclotrainer, you can use that for your cardio exercises. So let's go ahead and get started with the 8 best exercises. We're going to start with half squats. Make sure that the level of the machine is at a height that's comfortable for you to use. Put your feet on the squat stand and lay back so that your head is fully supported and your heels are on the squat stand. When you do a half squat, you come down part way. You don't come all the way down. So it's a half squat like so. This is extremely easy on the knees because you are completely supported. A half squat standing looks like this. Your feet are about hip distance apart. You take your knees right over the ankles, suck in the belly button to support the spine, and go about to here, a half squat. A full squat would be so that your thigh is parallel to the floor. Don't go that low when you're first starting. For heel raises, put your feet to about the middle of the squat stand, lift the heels, and release the heels. Here's just a fully supported heel raise. Working the gastrocnemius and soleus complex. Standing, feet again hip distance apart, not blank but narrow, right here. You go up on the toes and back down. Contracting your core, contracting your glutes, working the entire back of the leg. For the fully supported straight leg extension, go ahead and put one foot in the middle of the squat stand, the other leg comes straight up, straight down. Contracting the quadriceps complex right here. Point the toe or flex the toe. Lift and lower until you feel a nice tight stretch right here and then come back down. Do both sides. For a beginner hamstring curl exercise, go ahead and either hold on to the wing attachment and do a hamstring curl with the toes pointed, kicking the heel up to the buttocks. More advanced move is with the feet on top of the wing attachment. So sitting at the end of the glide board, insert your feet into the wing attachment, lay back, and then curl the hamstrings like so. You can do these laying down or sitting up. It's a little bit harder, uses a lot more core when you're sitting up with the hamstring curl. To exercise the gluteus maximus area and also the posterior part of the leg, Rear leg lifts can be performed laying on the bench or laying on the floor and just lifting the legs straight out to the back of the body with a straight knee. The outer thigh muscles can be worked with an abduction exercise. Laying on your side, stack your hips, bottom foot is pressed into the squat stand. You lift and lower the top leg, working the muscles of the glutes and the outer thigh area here. For abduction, working the inner thigh. For ABDUCTION, working the inner thigh, take the bottom leg out into the front of the body. The top leg is now pressed into the squat stand, and you lift and lower the leg. You're going to work some core here and all the muscles of the inner thigh. Well, this last exercise is the most advanced because you're using a number of different muscle complexes. Get a chair where you're able to put your feet flat on the floor. Sit back in the chair, sitting up nice and tall. And now you're going to take your legs and you're going to lift your knees as high as you can. Extend the knees out, bring the knees in, and then come back down. So these are seated flexed hip knee extensions. You're working your core, your quads, and hamstrings all at the same time. Once you finish your exercises, go ahead and do your stretches. Start with your supine straight leg stretch, laying either on the floor or on a bench, and take the legs straight up. Don't grab behind the knee, grab behind the calf or behind the thigh, and you can point and flex to get a nice hamstring stretch. Quadricep stretch, lay on your side, and grab that top foot, press the hips forward, and allow the stretch to go through the front of the hip. To stretch the gastrosoleus complex, that's your calf and the heel cord, go ahead and take yourself onto the floor, downward dog. And you can do alternating heels down or both heels down, stretching the legs nice and long, tucking the chin into the chest, and arms and legs are straight. To stretch your hips, you're going to do a figure four. You can do this standing if you have really good balance. I suggest you either lay down or sit if you've got sore knees. So go ahead and cross the leg over the top and then lean forward to stretch all the muscles of the hips. You'll feel it as you press that knee towards the floor. You can put a little resistance here or not, it's up to you, but you're going to feel the stretch go through the posterior aspect of your hip. The figure four in supine position is just like so, where you take your foot and you bring it down into a bent knee position. The other leg is across the top, and you're just stretching here. Hold each stretch for at least 10 seconds. If you're warmed up, you can actually hold them for longer, maybe 30 seconds for deep stretches. But try to stretch every muscle group around those hips and legs so that you can have the most benefit from the exercises that we just did for your knees. Cardiovascular exercises that you can take part in with weak knees include swimming, doing the elliptical, recumbent biking or cycling, such as what we did on the Cyclotrainer 2, and also climbing stairs. Take your time. If it starts to ache or be painful, cut back on the amount of time you're doing the exercise or cut back on the number of reps that you're doing and the intensity of the exercise. Just remember that with injured knees or with a chronic injury of the knees, the more you do something repetitively, the more likely you are to re-injure that body part. So try to cross-train, try to do different kinds of exercises to help strengthen up all the muscles that support the knee, both the sides and the front and back, and also all the way down to the ankle and all the way through the core. Doing all those exercises that we just did, the 8 best exercises, avoiding the worst exercises, you should be able to feel pretty good about continuing on your fitness journey.